I extended the gas tank on my new Paramotor so that I could get some cross country in. We went down to Vail, North Carolina to the Fly It If You Got It fly-in, and we waited until Saturday morning when the Resurgence PPG guy, Todd Scandrett, set up a cross country for everybody to go on. The clouds didn't break until about 9 o'clock that morning, and everybody was a little upset that they wouldn't have time to do the whole cross country, except for a few guys. I thought it had been called off, so I just launched and went up and played around underneath the clouds a little bit. James Campbell got a recording of that takeoff, and I think it turned a couple of people's heads. So I flew around for about 20 minutes, and then I watched people congregating around the east side of the field and then take off in one direction. So I followed them. I pulled what I call wingovers, which probably are wimp wingovers, to get down below the cloud level so that I could follow them, and threw the trims out, and away we went. The cloud level started at about 900 feet and slowly dropped down to about 200 feet within, I'd say, about 5.5 miles. At this point, people started to pull away, turn back, land out. I'm really not sure. All I know is that I followed somebody that I thought had a good bead on where he was going. That was my first mistake. The second mistake was not setting up comms with it. We were essentially worthless. What I did was reach out my hands really wide and with outstretched fingers, like pump my hands like I don't know where I'm going, and he motioned back to me exactly the same thing. So I got really upset. I'm sure that I threw a couple expletives his way that he could not hear, and then I pulled out my GPS and we decided to go to the actual LZ, the planned LZ. If you know anything about the area, this is where we turned finally sort of on the right track, and we went about 11 to 12 miles until the point where I could not fly any further because I had to pee and there was nothing for it. So we landed out in a field. I got to fulfill at least a year-long fantasy of being picked up by a local and taken to a cool place to take off, and that's exactly what happened. We took off from an elementary school. I made it up. My partner broke his prop on the way out trying to do a downwind takeoff, which happens to a lot of people. And anyways, I decided to go on a long cross-country back. It was about 22 miles from where we took off, and I made it back about 10 minutes before everybody else did. So I think even though we were way out of way and we didn't make one of the LZs, I still think that we went as far, or I went as far as the guys that went on the full cross-country. One quick highlight, the most beautiful part, even though I didn't get any video, was when we came over a mountain ridge, following the contour of the mountain about 50 feet off of the trees because the clouds were 50 feet over us. We came down the ridge and finally the clouds broke and we could see about 500 or 600 feet below us. The valley stretched out for about 3 or 4 miles, and we had to follow underneath the clouds all the way over until another ridge where we went up into the clouds, over a ridge, and back down into the lowlands, and it was just so beautiful. I highly recommend someone getting lost every once in a while on a paramotor if you can help it.